Dear friends, welcome to this Electrical Engineering Knowledge Sharing channel, AMP Power System. We are going to discuss today a new session, that is a session 14, where we'll be going to discuss about this protection system, testing, commissioning, post-commissioning preventive maintenance and troubleshooting. Now, before starting this thing, this total four items, that is a your this total testing of this protection system and the associated testing, commissioning, all these aspects maybe not be possible to include in complete in one part. So maybe it will be extended to two parts or three parts that we'll discuss. Then let's see how it is progress. Depending on the progress, we will decide. Now, when we are going to discuss about the testing, commissioning, preventive maintenance, and the troubleshooting of the protection system, in our session 1, we discussed that protection system means protection device, that is a particularly relay associated with its input-output devices. The relay alone, it cannot work. For proper functioning of the relay, it needs the input signal through the sensors. So the sensors on CT and PT, which we consider generally an integral part of the protection system. So when we consider actually protection system means it has a protection device, that is the protection relay, plus CT and PT. Protection relay plus CT and PT as a minimum is the minimum components of the protection system. Then this protection system also has an interface with the corresponding switch gear or switch yard equipment, as well as it is interfaced with the DCS for the instrument for this various information or data to be looked into, as well as it has a interface with the control power which is coming from the DC system. So these are the various interface. But when we are going to discuss about this protection system testing, commissioning, mainly we will be concerned within this part, that is the protection device and this CT and PT, and other interface will not be considered except the control supply over here. So these are the protection system we are going to discuss about this testing, commissioning, post commissioning, the preventive maintenance, etc. Now question is why the testing and pre-commissioning check, post commissioning, all these things so important like any other equipment. This protection system testing is more important and need to be more rigorous due to various reasons. Now we know, we have discussed in the first session, the protection system comes into play when there is a abnormal condition in the system. That means there is a abnormal fault condition in the system, and that is not regularly taking place in the system. It may be once in a year or once in a 2 year. Sometimes it may be some of the relay may not have worked even once in a 5 years. But when the incident or the accident or the abnormal condition, that is fault condition, takes place in a equipment or in the system, immediately this protection device for that particular equipment or for that system should seriously or should pick up or should operate and clear the fault. That is the job. But at that particular critical time when it needs to work, at that time if it does not perform its job, then the protection relay present has no value. But normal condition, we are not knowing whether the protection system is healthy or not. There's some indication might be there, but is in actual performance we cannot monitor. Actual performance will be identified only when it needs to work. That means when there is a fault. But at that time if it does not work, then it has no meaningful present or meaningful existence in the power system. And second thing, this protection system, another function it has, we know when the fault takes place, protection system is distributed all over the power equipments and system. For each and every equipment there is a protection system. But when the fault on a particular part of the protection system has one selectivity that it should work only the protection system intended for that faulty part. And at that same time, the protection system on all other healthy parts should not operate. And in the reverse way, when the protection system on the healthy part operate, that means that is not doing job. So it has a distinguished requirement of the protection system that protection system will clear the fault on this particular part where the protection fault has taken place. At the same time, it will remain unoperated or it will maintain its healthy position without any operation when the fault is somewhere else. So protection system is selectively isolate the faulty section while maintaining the other healthy part of the system as usual. That is also another job of the protection system. So during when the protection system is in operation at that time or is on the power system, at that time various type of, in addition to the fault, lot of other situation can create in the power system, at which condition the protection system should not operate. Protection system should operate only when there is a fault. But in the power system, due to various interference and various hookup, we have seen the protection system is connected with the main power line, it is connected with the switch gear, it is connected with the DCS, it is connected with the output power control supply. So all from various sources, there is a lot of influence or a lot of interferences come into the power protection system which can maloperate the protection system. So we have to check through the testing process that protection system will do its job in the actual requirement, that is number one, and during the various abnormal situation created somewhere else or a lot of other disturbance created in somewhere else or in the protection device where it is connected which is not faulty condition, in that case protection system should not maloperate. That is also to be checked. So all this thing we do by testing process. So testing is very, very important for the protection device or protection relay, because from the testing only we can assure that the protection device will not maloperate and it will operate rightly at the right time when it needs to operate. So that can be only confirmed by doing rigorous testing of this protection system. That's why protection system testing is very, very important before installation, and as well as it is very, very important to maintain this integrity and to assurance when the system is running on the power system. So protection system, not only during commissioning the testing is important, it is equally important after installation when it is running on the system. Regular checking of the protection system is important to ensure its healthiness and right operation at the right time. So let's discuss what are the various tests, what are the way we can do this. Now this protection system, when you do for the testing, there is a different procedure or different protocols are there for doing the test. So those tests we classified in the various categories, so that each by the various category testing we can confirm all the characteristics, all the requirement of this protection system. To categorize these various tests required to carry out the testing, testing is classified mainly in the four categories. One is called type test. That is a type test is one category. Second category is a routine test during maintenance. Routine test during manufacturing, not maintenance, during manufacturing stage. Manufacturing stage. Number three is a factory acceptance test. Factory acceptance test after completion of manufacturing in presence of end user. In presence of end user. That is one end user. That is one. Then 4 is site acceptance test. Site acceptance test. Then 5 is site pre-commissioning and commissioning test. Pre-commissioning and commissioning test. That is number 6. Number 6 is a plant preventive maintenance test. Preventive maintenance test. And 7 is troubleshooting. These are the various things we can do under the testing commissioning of the protection. It is a session 14, testing and commissioning of the protection device. That is the heading. So these are the various tests or various stages or various type of tests we do sequentially to ensure the correct operation of the relay and to confirm that the relay is maintaining all the characteristics, performance, etc. as per various standard. So, and these various performance tests we carry out as per the various standard. The standard generally we follow for the various tests and the performance analysis. That is, one is IEC 255 6001 255, and it has a various part 1 to part 15. So many parts are there. All the parts are related to the testing of the protection device as well as design and engineering. Then we have also ANSI standard. We have ANSI standard is C37, that is for the protection device testing commissioning. In addition to some of the testing we not included over here, that is one of the standard is 60100. This is one of the protection, one of the standard IEC standard we follow for some of the testing. Then there is another standard 6068, that is also another standard we follow for this IEC standard for some of the test. And then also we have a European standard, that is a 89 to 336, I think 336 / EEC1 standard is there. Another is 73 223, I think that one, divide IEC. Another European standard is there, by which we do the various tests. So mainly we follow this IEC standard 60255, various parts of this, as well as 60100 and 6068 for the testing of the various tests of this testing of the protection devices. Now first let's start with the type test. Maybe we will try to complete type test today if possible. Let's see how much we can complete. Now under the type test, the various, why we need the type test. Type test is actually, this is a test used any relay when it is getting manufactured or when it is a prospective relay which is going to the market. Then the manufacturer, it is not only for the protection device, any equipment, any electrical equipment or mechanical equipment, any equipment, when it's coming into the market through the manufacturer, before starting manufacturing of this for the marketing purpose or selling purpose, the equipment must be tested in the third party premises to ensure its various characteristics to confirm the corresponding standard by which standard this equipment has been manufactured. So that standard to be followed to ensure that whatever the performance, generic performance has been mentioned in the standard, that performance is maintained by this relay or this confirming this relay. So before manufacturing for the industrial for application purpose, the design or the manufacturer always carry out this test in the third party premises to ensure all this performance. In addition to this, manufacturer can proclaim that his device or his equipment, in addition to the standard requirement, has some additional performance he has included in his device. If he claims that type of performance, that performance also to be tested in the third party premises. In addition to this, if end user in his specification he asks some specific performance he needs or specific characteristics he needs in his order, in his going to order equipment, and if the manufacturer confirms that he can implement that characteristics inside this equipment, end user may ask that this particular characteristics after implement, at least one of the item, one of the device shall be type tested by a third party. That is also end user may ask in his functional specification. In that case, manufacturer has to obtain the test. So this generic test, which is confirming the relay's performance, declared performance, either by the standard or by the manufacturer or by the end user, that performance test we do by the type test. And this type test is done in advance of marketing of the relay. That means for when the relay or the protection device or any equipment going to the market for selling and application purpose, before declare that thing, this complete type test to become this group of tests to be completed and established with a certificate that this equipment is confirming all the stipulated performance of the standard, as well as the manufacturer own declaration for if some of the characteristics there, along with this end users even a specific requirement. So that group of test, and that will be done, this test by which the various test by which this performance is established, that is we group under type test. So type test is a group of tests which to be confirmed or carried out before selling the equipment to the market. So it is actually typical type or generic type for each model, or is not for each model, for each type. For each type of equipment, this test is mandatory. Okay, each type of equipment, this test is mandatory. Now, in the case of protection relay, the various type test we do. Why you do the various type test? By this type test, protection relay various performance. মানে protection relay maloperation under various influence is proved. Like when we have a various type of abnormal condition can create it in the power system, like a switching operation. When you do the switching operation, there is a switching surge created in the power system. If there is a lighting impulse, there is a impulse injected on the line, then there is a lot of disturbance comes in the line. Similarly, if there is a fault condition for which the protection system is present, there will be abnormal condition also there. So then again, if there is a suppose control supply, the control supply has create some repels, control supply coming different voltage, that is also causing a problem to the device. That also can cause a abnormal condition. Suppose there is a high, the overhead lines, there is a arcing. If there is arcing, or if there is arcing, then also there is a disturbance comes, or there is a spark over in the line, then there is a disturbance will come in the line. So that disturbance through the line, we have already shown that through how the disturbance is transmitted to the protection device. We have a CT and we have the PD. Both are connected to the protection device. Whatever the problem comes in their system, suppose any equipment, suppose there is equipment over here, suppose there is a transformer. If there is a problem comes in the transformer, immediately that will be transmitted to the protection device. So all this abnormal condition which can create in the equipment or in the system, then under that influence, this equipment should not maloperate. Similarly, suppose this equipment is living inside a switch gear. Suppose in that is a medium voltage switch gear, protection relay device it remain in the switch gear. Now switch gear is powered from the external source from the transformer. So this, when the current flowing through the busbar, there is a magnetic field is created. In that magnetic field, that electromagnetic field, this device is locating. So if that electromagnetic field may not be constant electromagnetic field, depending on the voltage and current of the busbar on the outward system or any tangent, electromagnetic field also will be tangent in nature. So due to the tangent nature of this electromagnetic field, this device may maloperate. So we have to establish the device will not maloperate. All this thing abnormal condition, the device will do its job properly. To establish that thing, the various type tests are intended or devised, you can say. And the various tests which we carry out under the type test, that we can write over here. So let type test only this part. Now the various tests we carry out under type test, that is starting from your first is your we said that when we manufacture a relay, the manufacturer has declared various functional requirement or the functional compliance with the standards, as well as manufacturer own functional characteristics are specified or end user. So that functional compliance is need to be checked, or functional specifications is need to be checked before releasing the equipment in the market. The functional specification verification, that is one of the things to be carried out. Number B, this equipment device, I said, as it is working in the inside electromagnetic field, the electromagnetic compatibility, electromagnetic or EM compatibility, we say electromagnetic compatibility check, compatibility check, we have to do this thing. Number 3, that is the electromagnetic compatibility. Next is this device when we manufacture, there is a various type of over voltage can come into the system, or productive test will be there. So this voltage test, various voltage tests or productive test, you can say productive test to be carried out on this device. Number 4, this device, when you do this, when you put the device, then one thing the device is manufactured under certain ambient condition. That ambient condition at different times it could be different. So if the ambient condition varied, in that case the device should not maloperate. So ambient condition drift or ambient condition suitability for ambient condition, that also to be checked by this device. Ambient condition suitability check. that is also to be carried out as per standard. These are the 4 tests we generally carried out. In addition to this, we do this software test also, because these are the for the electromagnetic relay. But in addition to the electromagnetic relay, there is in case of numerical relay, in addition to this 4 test, we do also the software test. Software also need to be tested. Software test for this under the type test. So these are the 5 group of tests, 5 type of tests we do under the type test. One is a functional specification test, that is we do. Then we carried out electromagnetic compatibility test. Then we do the voltage productive test. Then we do the ambient condition test and the software test. These are the various tests we carried out under type test. Now let's come one by one. First is the functional specification test. Under the functional specification test, what we do? Under the functional specification test, we check the protection device is rating. It has some rating. The rating we check. It burden for the protection relay is burden we check. We check its input output capacity. Input output capacity or rating. Okay. Thermal withstand capacity of this device. Thermal withstand capacity also we check of this device under the functional check. Then we check if this device has serial port communication. The serial port capacity also we check under this functional check. Serial port capacity or communication port capacity also we check under this functional check. So these are the various things we carry out. And in case of input output check, that is a CT, in the case of relay protection device, input output device with input device is a CT is the input device. We consider this is your protection device. The input device is CT is the input device and PT is the input device. These are two input device. Output device is from all this contact which is going from here to various location like the switch gear or DC. These are all output. Okay. So or if there is a serial port, that is also output. So this rating and burden we check as per the stipulated procedure mentioned in the corresponding standard 60255. It is clearly specified how to carry out this rating check and burden check. And input output check we do by overloading this. You give the normal input output, we check the input output is working or not as per the logic. And the thermal withstand capacity of the input output we check by loading the input. Suppose the input is a 5 ampere input, we put 20% more input and we see that condition, what is the condition. But in the case of CT, this overload, 20% overload, 120% loading we do. For the CT we do for 1 second overloading, and for the PT and all other device we do for 10 seconds. When we do the overload thermal withstand check of this various input output devices. So and then the serial port capacity, we have a protocol, we have a mention how to do this serial capacity measurement in the same standard. We follow that standard. And after the test, after they carry out all the tests, then we take out the relay or protection device. Then we see there is any traces of overheating, overstress, or any twisting, or any other damage we observe, or any carbon deposition on the PCB. In the case of numerical relay, a lot of cards are there. Whether there is any damage in the card pin or anything, all this thing we check. And if it is nothing is there, then it is absolutely fine. That is our understanding. So this is your input output test. Okay, this is our functional specification verification. This is our first stage of type test. Okay, and then in addition to this, we check this GA drawing of this equipment with the functional arrangement as per the declared GA drawing of the protection device and the various parts and components. In the same way it is done. But one of the things is all the type test generally it is carried out not by the manufacturer, not by the end user. It is carried out by independent certified body who will carry out independently all the tests and issue a certificate of the compliance. If you observe any problem, he will immediately highlight that he will not pass the certificate, he will not pass the test, and he will highlight to the manufacturer that these are the observations, these are the issues which need to be addressed and to be rectified and do the retest again. So that is the procedure for the type test. So this is a first part of the functional check, that is functional specification verification. Then the next type test is your electromagnetic compatibility test. Under electromagnetic compatibility test, we have a various tests are there. So under electromagnetic compatibility EC, electromagnetic EMC, we call it electromagnetic compatibility test, EMC test. Under EMC test, we have a first test we carry out, that is a control voltage test. Control voltage test. That is the first test we carry out under EMC. Second, we do high frequency withstand test. High frequency withstand test. Then third is we do high voltage first tangent. High voltage first FST, first tangent. Tangent withstand test and immunity test. This is the third test we carry out. After that, we carry out power frequency withstand test. Power frequency withstand test. That is we do. After that, we carry out voltage discharge test. Voltage discharge test. After voltage discharge test number 6, we carried out another test, that is your conductive and radiative emission test. Conductive and radiative emissions test. We said this thing because when this equipment, this protection device living in an environment where a lot of electromagnetic radiation is there. So in that case, the electromagnetic radiation can be it can be passed to the equipment either by conductive method or through the radiation method. So in that condition, the relay should not maloperate. That we have to check that part. That is the this test. And last test we carry out, that is a power frequency magnetic field. Power frequency magnetic field withstand test. Magnetic field withstand test. Here is a strong magnetic field is created, and inside the magnetic field the protection device will be located, and then the protection device should not maloperate under this influence of the strong magnetic field. That's to be done. These are the various type tests we do under the electromagnetic compatibility check. That is a functional specification we have already discussed. Second is we are discussing electromagnetic compatibility test. This test is very rigorous because these are the various problems which come through the power line. So that's why the electromagnetic compatibility test for the protection device is very rigorous, and lot of tests we carry out so that each and every disturbance protection device is subjected, and we ensure the protection device will not maloperate. For all these tests when we are carrying out, one of the things how we ensure the protection device is maintaining its performance, we keep the protection device for most of the test. We keep the protection device on operation with the CTPD supply with a 90% supply voltage, and during if the current and voltage requirement is 90%, these are the two main input coming to the relay, right? On CT supply and PT supply. This is the two input coming to the relay. This will decide the relay operation and the control supply. So for all this test, what do we do when we do that relay protection device is not the tripping mode, that means it is normal operation mode. At that time we set the CT setting 90%, current setting, voltage setting 90%. We put this, and control voltage we maintain. So under this condition, if any of the disturbance comes on the relay should not operate. That is we check in this way. And when this is 100 and we put 110% of both this value, and at that time under any of this condition the relay should operate. Relay operation should not stop because this is above the setting value, so relay should operate. So when we put the setting value like this, and if any of the disturbance comes on the relay operation will not be stopped. This two way we check the relay. When the simulated value of this operating value of the various parameters just below the tripping point, that is the 90%, it should not operate under the influence of this. And if the setting value is above 20%, above 10% of the setting value, in that case if any of this operation should not stop. This way you do that. Now the control voltage test, how we do that? Control voltage test, now the control voltage is coming by DC. Now this control voltage test again is divided into two categories. One is a refill test, refill test. Another is a down or up test. Okay, ramp up or ramp down. We say ramp down or ramp up test. What is this refill test? Now this control voltage which are giving to the relay, it is coming from where? It coming from the DC system. In case of relay supply, always control supply come from the DC system. DC system means what is there? There is a charger, there is a battery charger, that is AC to DC, and then there is a battery is connected to the bus. There is a battery over here. This way it is connected, and from here the supply is coming to the relay. That is the normal way. Now this relay supply, this supply is coming from the charger. Charger is rectifying, then it is filtering, it is coming over here. So this output voltage has a ripple always. So under the ripple condition, this relay should not mal-operate. That's why what we do, suppose it is a 120 volt DC supply we are giving to the relay. With this control supply 12% ripple, we inject to this with a two times frequency. That means if it is a normal frequency of the input supply 50 Hz, we take 100 Hz ripple, 12% ripple inject with this control supply, and with this supply the relay should not operate. That is, we inject this supply for 10 seconds and we see it is relay is not operating. If it is not operating, then we say it is alright. How is that? Suppose this is a supply, this is the ripple. This is the ripple coming over here. This is a 12% peak to peak ripple. We inject for 10 seconds with this control supply, and if this ripple present in the control supply, relay should not operate. In this way, we check the relay stability under the ripple voltage. That is one part. Second part, we do this ramp down, ramp up voltage. What is the ramp down, ramp down test? That is we discussed that is it is coming from the, it is AC supply, it is a positive negative DC charge is coming, battery is connected over here and relay is connected over here. Suddenly, if this charger fail, what will happen in that case? In that case, the battery will discharge and giving power to the relay. During the discharge of the battery, the relay should not mal-operate. Suppose relay is connected over here, setting as 90% CT supply, PT supply 90%, and suddenly charger fell, and at that time supply is coming from the battery. So battery is discharging, is ramp down, it is ramping down. During ramping down, this relay should not mal-operate. That is one thing. Similarly, when the power comes back, then immediately what will happen? Immediately, as the battery got discharged, it will try to charge the battery. But supply will be coming from the battery till it is not reaching to the control voltage. During that ramp up, during charging stage, we call ramp up. During ramp up, if the supply coming from battery or from the charger, relay should not mal-operate. That means if the setting has 90%, relay should not operate. If the setting at 110%, relay should operate. So that is we check with this control supply. So these are the three tests we carry out the control supply. Now another test we carry out in addition to this, if this DC supply, if the DC supply fail, suppose the DC supply fail for some time, so we divide by 50 millisecond, 10 millisecond, 20 millisecond, then 50 millisecond, 100 millisecond, 200 millisecond. Up to 20 millisecond, if the DC supply, control supply fail in the system, control supply is not available to the relay should not mal-operate, and relay is do his own job, and relay should not drop out. Relay should not drop out within this 20 millisecond. If the power supply, control power supply is missing for 20 millisecond, relay should not drop out. But if this more than 20 millisecond, if it is there, in that case, relay may drop out, but relay operation will not be disturbed. If the relay in the operation mode, that is trip mode, and the quantity is the tripping value, it should trip. If it is not in the tripping mode, it should not trip. This is the for up to 200 millisecond. Without control supply, relay should do its operation, but up to 50 millisecond, relay should not drop out. Relay power supply off, but relay should not drop out. That means it has some memory capacity for that control supply holding. So, or some charging arrangement inside the relay to holding the voltage. So that arrangement should be in the relay. So this is for the also under the control voltage test. Okay. Now next test is a high frequency with a shunt test. Now this high frequency voltage, it can, from various situations, because suppose the relay is locating inside switch gear. So in the switch gear, there is a high frequency signal due to switching. We have seen due to switching, braking operation, or suppose there is an insulator failure, or there is a isolator on-off case. In all these cases, there is a high frequency or high voltage, both can come. Now we are discussing only high frequency. High frequency signal can come to the relay. In that case, relay should not operate. The high frequency signal which can come to the relay through the input port, that is the CTPT port, that high frequency signal, it will be for This it is for 2 seconds. If you see the high frequency, this will be like this. It is a damping high frequency signal. This frequency signal is a 1 megahertz. 1 megahertz frequency signal we inject to the relay, or to the relay input port. We inject this voltage 1 megahertz signal to 1 megahertz signal to this for 2 seconds. And the value, peak value will be 2.5 kV. 2.5 kV peak, then it is gradually decaying to 0. This one, and the frequency is 1 megahertz. If this voltage injected to the input port is CTPT port, then this relay should not maloperate. That's why we check this high frequency with a stand test of this device. Okay, then this voltage is gradually decaying voltage. Then next test is a high voltage fast tangent, and this high voltage fast tangent it can created by the switching or lighting impulse. With the switching or lighting impulse injected on the relay, then the high frequency high voltage tangent can come in. So this test, how we'll do that? We do by the busting. We injected burst voltage, that is actually looks like this. Suppose this way we inject a burst, 30 millisecond burst we inject. It is a 15 millisecond one burst. It is a 15 millisecond duration. 15 millisecond duration. Then we inject the second burst. Similarly, 15 number burst is called. It is a spelling is BURST burst. This is a 15 again 15 millisecond burst, and the gap between this is a 300 millisecond. Every 300 millisecond one set of burst is injecting on the relay, and this burst is a waveform. It is not a step. Each burst, one burst is look like this. It is actually 1 point. This peak will be 1.5. This will be 5. This peak time is a 5 nanosecond, and this total time will be 50 nanosecond. That means 5 nanosecond it will come to the peak value. That is a 4 kV. This burst voltage will be 4 kV. 4 kV peak value. In 5 nanosecond from the zero value it come to the 4 kV, and in total 45 nanosecond it will drop 45 nanosecond because the pulse width is 50 nanosecond. This total pulse width is 50 nanosecond. So 45 nanosecond it will drop down to the zero value. This type of 15 number is pulse duration 1 by 50 millisecond. This type of burst will inject on this 15 number burst will be injecting at one after another. And then after 300 millisecond another 15 number of burst will be injecting. This way it will be injecting for 1 second, and then the relay should not maloperate. This way we do the high voltage tangent with a stand capacity. In addition to this will be tested for all the input output. We have to set another point. There are two points we discussed. One is a common mode injection and the differential mode injection. What is that? In the relay we have seen there is various inputs. Suppose this is one put CT input, this is a PT input, suppose this is relay output, various output. Now when we do this particular input, this is one of the input. Okay, this input when you do test with respect to casing. So casing is grounded. Suppose this is a grounded, and the voltage is applied between these two. That means independent circuit to the ground. Then we call it a common mode testing. This is a common mode. But if we do that voltage inject between these two independent circuit, then we call a differential mode. This mode we call differential mode. So this voltage will be injecting both in the common mode as well as differential mode for all the input circuit. On the input, not the output side, we don't need this high voltage tangent test. Okay. So in the differential mode, the 4 kV test we will do in the differential mode and common mode, both the input circuit, for check the compatibility of this with a stand capacity. Okay. Then we do the immune test, this high voltage tangent immunity test for all the circuit, input output circuit, that is in open condition and closed condition. Open condition we do the test at 4 kV in open circuit condition, and this 4 kV voltage which we are injecting on this all the circuits, all the circuit that has a wave profile is 1.2 by 50 microsecond. This is the wavefront capacity. That means the 4 kV voltage which you are injecting, it will reach to the 4 kV 1.5, 1.2 microsecond, and it will drop to 50 microsecond. This will be 50 microsecond, and this is one. But this type of waveform we inject to all the inputs and output, and then we say it is working or not. It is withstanding or not. If it is withstanding, then we say it is a passing. It is under open condition of all the contact. And in the short circuit condition, what do? We inject a current waveform. In the short circuit condition, we inject a current waveform, the current waveform will be, it is 2 kiloampere current we send with the waveform that is also in the pulse waveform, that is actually 8 millisecond by 20 microsecond. 8 microsecond to 20 microsecond. 8 microsecond is a rising time and 20 microsecond is a drop down time. This type of pulse with magnitude of 2 kiloampere, we inject all the input output circuit and we say it is operating or not. Yeah, this is the way we carry out this high voltage first transient withstand and the immunity test. Then power frequency withstand test, it is a 50 Hz power frequency. We inject power frequency to all the input output circuit. For the common mode, that means between the individual circuit to the earth, we inject 500 volt RMS value, we inject 50 Hz, 50 or 60 Hz as per the system voltage. This voltage we inject in the common mode, all the input output circuit. And in the differential mode, that means for between the independent circuit, we inject 250 volt RMS, and we say that this all the equipment, all the terminals are functioning as usual. There is no deterioration or no maloperation. That assure that it has a power frequency withstand voltage is there. Okay. Then the next test we carry out partial voltage discharge test. This voltage discharge test assure that if there is a due to discharge, any discharge inside the relay panel or on the relay near to the relay, and due to discharge, if some high voltage generated, under the discharge high voltage relay will not operate. Now you know any relay, when suppose the relay, if this relay has a cover, if the metallic cover, maybe insulated metallic cover, and this cover will get electrostatic charge. It is actually electrostatic discharge test. Electrostatic charge. This electrostatic charge, if somebody touch it, then it will be immediately a spark over will be there, and when the spark over was there will be a high voltage will be generated, and this high voltage causing the maloperation sometime of the relay. That's why we need to do that electrostatic discharge test. So how we do this electrostatic discharge test? We inject a there are two ways of this electrostatic discharge can go to the ground in two ways. One is a conductive way. If it is one is a conductive way, in case of if the cover or the body of the relay body is a conductive, and if somebody touched it, then it will through the body it will go to the ground. But if this body is insulated, then the discharge will be go through ear to the media to the ground. It will not directly, it is not conductive, it will be through the radiative. So the radiative it will go to ground. That's why this discharge we can do, one is called ear discharge. In this case it will be ear discharge. So the media it will go to ear and then it will be ground. It is called ear discharge, and it is called conductive discharge. So this two, in case of conduct, if this cover or the body is a conductive body, not insulated, in that case we do the conductive test. But if the insulated body, then we have to go by the ear discharge. Okay. Now the cover can be, the test can be is carried out in two states. One is a cover on, another is a body on, another is a body off. One is relay is inside the body, another is a relay is outside the body. And if it is a relay small panel, then panel is one, in one case the cover is on, another case cover is off. So in case of cover on condition, the ear discharge we do at a voltage of 15 kV. We inject 15 kV voltage, we charge the cover with a 15 kV, and then we discharge this 15 kV charge from the relay. Relay is remain energized. All the input, output, everything is connected. Now we charge the cover. Suppose this is the cover and relay is located in that. This is a, we call this equipment under test. EUT is inside this. Now this cover is charged to 15 kV. Now after the 15 kV charge, then we discharge a particular point from here to ground. Okay. So if it is a conductive cover, then this it is so this test is 15 kV we do for the ear discharge. Suppose the cover is insulated and cover is on, cover is in body with the relay body. In that case 15 kV we charge it, and through the ear discharge we discharge it. During the discharge relay should not maloperate. But if it is a on condition and the cover is a conductive cover, in that case we do the test at 8 kV. So it is a conductive test will be 8 kV. 8 kV we charge the plate with 8 kV and then we discharge it. Okay. But if the cover is off, it is not on, it is separately cover is off. In that case ear discharge, that means in the case of insulated cover we give 8 kV voltage, and conductive discharge we give 6 kV. And during with this 6 kV voltage it should discharge. And then during the discharging, the current, how this discharging will be taking place, the current profile, if you see, the current profile will be like this. This will be 100% current will go, and initially the current will reach to the 100% in 5 nanosecond, and it will be dropped to nearly zero value, it is 50 to 60 nanosecond. 50 to 60 nanosecond, and it will be rising to this value is a 5 nanosecond. So you will call it 5 nanosecond by 50 nanosecond waveform. This is the waveform of the current discharge from this. So this type of current discharge condition with the discharge the electrostatic charge, it should not operate. Okay. Then the next test is your conductive and radiative emission test. This conductive and radiative emission test we carry out because we have said that electromagnetic various communication equipment, radio system, paging system, mobile system, all this thing is located near to the radio room, near to the relay. In that case, relay may maloperate due to the influence of this. That's why, and we have already said, in case of relay generally operate 1 Hertz to 1 megahertz. This is the working region of the frequency of the relay in the various, we have said before. Now, sorry, 1 not megahertz, 1000 megahertz, 1000, that is 1 gigahertz. That is the range we said, megahertz or 1 gigahertz. That is the range. Now, this we split into, because inter range is not conductive. Up to 30 megahertz, 1 to 30 megahertz, this is actually conductive area, conductive region. In this range, signal can pass through the conductor. But above 30 megahertz to 1 gigahertz, it is go by the radiation method. So that's why both the conductive and radiative emission we have to look into. So what we do in the case of radiative emission, that is conductive, you can say, which is a first conductive emission. Conductive emission 1 through 30 megahertz. This is the conductive radiation. It is split in two parts, 0.15 to 0.5 megahertz. This is one range, and 0.5 megahertz to 30 megahertz another range. In this range, what do we do? The electromagnetic surrounding, electromagnetic ambient which we create, that create is a 73 dB microvolt. dB. This electromagnetic radiation is measured in dB microvolt. It is this dB microvolt per meter. This 73 dB micro, in this range we create 73, and this range is required is a 79 microvolt. Okay, 79 dB microvolt. These are the electromagnetic radiation is created in this zone, and in this electromagnetic radiation the relay is locating with a full input output connection, and relay should not operate within this area, within this condition. Then we say the relays pass this conductive test, and in case of radiative test, it will be again splitting in two parts, 30 megahertz to 250 megahertz. This is one range, and 250 megahertz to 1000 megahertz is another range. In this range, this relay will be operating at it will be 30 dB microvolt per meter. Here it will be 37 microvolt per meter. That is a requirement. But we do the test at 40 microvolt, 40 dB microvolt. We do the test, and here in this frequency range, 200 megahertz to 1000 megahertz, in this range we do it a 47 microvolt dB microvolt per meter. Okay, in this range we do the test at 47 dB, and with this radiation the relay should not maloperate. Means if the relay setting at 90%, it should not operate. If it is setting 100%, relay operation should not stop. So this is the electromagnetic, conductive and radiation with a stunt test. Then the last test we do, that is a simple only magnetic field. If there is a strong magnetic field where the relay is located, in that case relay should not operate. So how we do that? We put a induction coil. We put a 2 induction coil on a rotating table. This is one induction coil, and this is another induction coil, and in between there is a rotating table. This table is rotating and relay is locating over here, and this coil is supplied from external supply. Then it become magnetized, and then it has, suppose one is a north pole, another is south pole, and inside this relay is rotating, so that suppose this is the relay, so it is rotating continuously, so all sides will be subjecting to this uniform. Suppose this is a magnetic field is created over here like this, north pole to south pole. This is the magnetic field is created and relay is locating inside and it is rotating. So relay, all the phases is subjecting to this magnetic field. In this magnetic field, relay should not mal-operate, what I said before. Now how this current, there are different type of simulation we do over here. One, we send the current, continuous current. We can send continuous current over here. Another one simulation we do in a continuous current signal. Okay. Then another we do this intermediate current signal, not the continuous, intermediate current. One is a continuous current signal. We send continuous current and then we see the relay operation. Number two, we can do the intermediate current. Or intermittent, we send the current and we can check. Third, we can set the pulse width current, not the continuous, in a pulse. The current will go in a pulse width form. That is another way. In this case, what is happening? 300 ampere per meter. This is the strength of the magnetic field we create over here. We send the 300 ampere current per meter of the conductor length. That is a measure how the magnetic field is created. So in that field continuously for it is done for the at least for 2 minutes. 2 minutes we create this, and inside this will be rotating continuously, and it is relay should not mal-operate. That is the first test. We second test, or if it is not rotating, then we have to rotate the relay intermittently. And in the case of intermittent test, we inject current 1000 ampere per meter. 1000 ampere per meter for 2 seconds. We inject this current for 2 seconds. Then, and this timing can be further negotiated or can be discussed with the manufacturer. Then 1000 ampere per meter current we set for the intermittent, and we check the operation of this. And then the pulse width, when we do the pulse width, this one, in that case what we do? We do not send the continuous signal. We send in that case we send also 100 ampere current, 100 ampere current per meter, but this width will be 6.8 by 20 microsecond. This will be going 100 ampere going in 6.8 microsecond, and it will be drop down in 20 microsecond. Okay, this will be the pulse width, and here it is in all the cases it withstand. That means we can say it has passed this magnetic field test. So I think we have already completed 45 minutes. I think we cannot continue further today. So this is the only electromagnetic compatibility type test we can do today, and then the rest of the type test, that is your voltage test, then your environmental test, then your software test, we have to include in the second part. So maybe it will be 3 part. This testing commissioning will be concluded in 3 part, not in 2 part. So let's conclude today here, and we'd like to thank you all of you for sharing and going through these various videos, and we'll be keeping it up. Thank you very much.